reason, or and so somewhere I think we have to be a little bit dictating or almost like hand holding us to explain how a good structure should look like.
Okay.
And so yeah, so if it's possible, and then I think you already know all these things, because you've been doing a lot of restoration works and adaptive reuse work based on the tradition. So so yeah, it's some of those things. And for instance, if you and then if, for instance, in the previous sections, you gave different type of the walls, etc. And let's say here you gave us like all the different types, no? The windows, the doors. This is like ornamentation, etc. Okay, or the type of walls. What I think I would want to know, or as somebody who is not trained, would want to know is that, okay, are they good examples? I mean, are they something that can be used? Are you encouraging us to use in the future restoration work or not? Because that is, you explained here about different typologies, but it's not explained in the conclusion. So what I hope is that in the conclusion, you kind of a little bit more dictating, almost to say, because to tell the government, these are the good examples. Okay, like if you make a house, the here are the options of the shape. If there's several typologies, but and then if you are using the different materials for your wall, here are the typical materials. Maybe there are 5 options, or maybe there's only 1 option, we don't know. But so what are those acceptable things? And I think you're very familiar with those building guidelines that in Europe, those are developed in the historical cities. In many European cities, they have very strict control of the facade, right? And yeah, and then they often have this user guideline for a commoner. We said, okay, if you want to repaint, here are a type of colors you can use, like usually a more mild pastel color. But they don't say that it should be only white. But it could, I mean, in some places they accept mild pinks, pastel pink, pastel blue, and pastel yellow, or whatever. Right? Or they say that if you want to make a veranda, use this metal kind of gilded veranda with this kind of shapes, etc. So they actually really like a detail and explain what each house owner can do or cannot do in a very kind of simple manner. And I don't know if in your conclusion you can bring that kind of element, so that like if I'm a, let's say a village dweller in the with a big house, but I want to renovate, what can I do? It's and whether what I'm is good or not. So it's a kind of little, yes, more kind of detailed guidelines. And then once we have that, then I think our next step is then to sit with the government offices, say, okay, this is like as per a pure architectural, heritage point of view, these are what we consider as the ideal look of the houses in the villages and in the towns of Borobudur. Of course, some of them are not like a practical, maybe it is too expensive, and I know in many cases you have to end up doing a compromise, but I think at this juncture, it is good to have a like ideal scenario seen from your point of view as a historical architect, heritage architect. So this, yeah. And another thing, I don't know, it's maybe more difficult, but when you went to the villages, did you notice if there's a typology in terms of distance between between houses?
What do you mean?
Like within the settlements, you go to the village, no? And
yes.
Within the settlement, so there are different houses.
Okay.
And usually the houses are, the family A, B, C, D, live in a village, and the houses are aligned in such a way, usually in a village, that often give a particular character, but I'm talking about my knowledge of other villages somewhere else. And then somehow there's some unsaid rules, like I mean, there are some practice that ends up giving a character, of the village. And I came to realize that because that was in Bhutan, another so-called modern village that the government developed, saying that it's a modern village, so it looks like a village, but it's modern. And they said they followed like architectural style, and and then we look at it, and then and we went there and said, okay, but something's a bit odd, bit different. And so and then we said, what's the difference? What is which we might feel that okay, there's something a bit artificial and not like the real kind of village feeling. And in that place, what we realized is that basically that the houses were too close to each other, so it just almost started looking like housing complexes in a city, and it was like a line too straight, etc. And so somehow, while in the true village, in case of Bhutan, the houses are actually scattered; they are never coming like clumped together. So obviously that make this so-called modern village that is supposed to be replicating the village atmosphere totally wrong. Now, in case of the villages in Borobudur, I don't know what, I have no knowledge whatever, but then maybe there are a certain typology or the rule as to how the houses are aligned to each other, like from one house to other. Maybe they're not too close to each other, right? Or maybe they are always made along some village route or etc. If there's such things, maybe it's good to indicate, because as you know, what would happen when this Ministry of Tourism or PU come to a village and start developing a village? Perhaps they make a series of buildings in a congested manner in a place, and they might just totally ruin the village atmosphere, right? I mean, it can happen. Then if there's something to say, you see, in the traditional villages, to give you this atmosphere, the houses are like should be normally aligned in this way and not like a vertical, it's too straight, etc. But okay, so this is but actually my question to you, I don't know if there's that kind of typology in the villages in terms of the house alignment, but if there's such things, it would be great maybe to mention that, and especially when you actually where was it? Or maybe it was in the conclusion.
Tom,
it was yeah,
you got
yeah. It's you had this, yeah. So yeah, it's now I know it's much more difficult. That's a much larger survey, but then yeah, if it's yeah, in this sections or these sections, if they you could also explain what are the kind of relation between the natural environment and the location of the villages, and within the villages how the houses are aligned. If such analysis are available, then I think please add. I know it's we have not asked you to do the the satellite view of all the villages and all the analysis, but if you really have that kind of information as part of your past study, I think that'll be very useful. Okay, I stop here. So well, I'm not sure if I managed to convey my points. Yes, please do ask me questions if my points are not clear.
Maybe can I explain a little bit before Mas Rizky later on will add some more?
Sure.
Yes, I think what you mentioned is we have a lot of information but it's not clear enough to explain. Yeah, I think we have to make it more detailed in this case. First of all, yes, we divide it into two types of focus. One is the characteristic of the village, and secondly is characteristic of the house. Because even the house itself, there will be two, is the house and garden, as well as the building itself. So there will be three categorized. And in this case, we have to explain also related to the map previously that the village is boundary by natures. The natures can be plantations, can be rice fields, can be also even is also the sport field. And yeah, I think we have to make clear on this.
I think that's a very important information. Yeah.
Yes. And then secondly, characterize of the traditional house. That will be 2 points. Traditional house and its yard, because the rural atmosphere is come from how big is the natural, and also which one is the houses. So in this case, the house, we have to explain more detail in this case. The typology is not only one building only, it can be several building. And I think we have to mention also about the evolutions, like the drawing after this, that you can see there are 4 houses. That first is only 2. And then after that, they have the children, and then they put another house, and then add this one. So this kind of system and evolutions, not yet the transformation, but evolutions of the houses, we supposed to also put in detail and make
that'd be great.
On this case.
Because I think every traditional architecture has its own way of extending, no? Yeah.
And then related of the house itself, I think we have to mention several typologies. One is the one that only one building. Even the one building, there will be some, they have a court, somehow they don't have court, but it's just only one building. And then the other type, there will be several buildings, like I mentioned before. So we have to explain of this. And then within of the house itself, we have to make it like a drawing stated that the type of the roof is only 2 actually. The 2 is limasan and kampung. This is the type that we found in there. Although they have changed the underneath, but usually the roof is always limasan or kampung. We cannot find the old type of the joglo types. The one is actual high style of the house types, but the joglo style is somehow is they got it from other places and then put it like the ones that we show in Kampung Semar. This is all from outside of Borobudur.
Right.
So in this case, with the 2 types of this building, roof, and then we have to mention about the core of the house, the original. Maybe we have to put in our conclusion, this is the core. And then they usually also add some room or veranda. And also we can divide it, or we can make it like this is the house, and then the wall, we can put it out to show that this kind of the ones that we show previously in chapter 3, like the walls that is wooden, for instance, like this. So those kind of type, it can be like this. So the house is actually very simple. Yes, like this type that we try to show here, the kampung or the limasan. As in the TOR, interior is not part on this, but with the traditional days, we have to put also interior. So I think
that's additional work if you don't mind.
So I think in this case, we will put also in the conclusions, the interior one, because we have already the drawing. So like maybe in the attachment, you can see all the drawing is there. So we can put and then make it into a conclusion. In this case, is the core house of those traditional one. So actually the houses over there is very simple, simple and harmonized with the nature. And they don't have a lot of ornaments. So the ornaments also very simple. And then the materials is, yeah, we have to mention in detail also as a conclusion. The materials is more wood and bamboo and wood. And once they have more money, they will change into brick. So this kind of evolutions, yes. And many of those houses utilize the veranda of the houses also utilize for working. So this is the connections of this.
Right. Section of the veranda.
Yeah, for instance, like interior, the ones that you show us in the page 77, we can usually say wood as a column. So this is also type of the interior that we can explain more actually in this case for the interior of this. Because many of the houses is also use this kind of wooden column.
That'd be great. And then my suggestion is not to kind of elaborate too much text, just make it very picture, how can I say, picture driven.
Or even the picture is maybe bigger.
Picture or the drawings. I mean, it's more visual and graphic because
okay.
I mean, I think we should work keeping in mind that we are trying to influence the government bureaucrats. They are not the academics, so they are not going to certainly read your first part with all the analysis of the regulations and evolutions, but they only just want to understand a cartoon. Let's say they want to read the cartoons, and so I guess this is the kind of people that we have as an audience, I imagine. So instead of explaining, could be very show the graphic or the photos or the drawings, and okay, this is like the materials are bamboo, wood, etc., photos, images, this type of bamboo weaving or that kind of bamboo weaving, etc., etc.
Okay. Yeah, we supposed to make it maybe bigger drawings and also bigger pictures and little bit more explanation in this case.
Yeah. Yes. And another thing. Sorry, maybe you haven't finished. Once you finish.
No, it's okay. I'm finished. Yes.
Okay. No. See, there is a section where you mentioned what are the problems, of the new restoration done by the Ministry of Tourism. Is it? Okay.
Ministry of Public Work.
Public Work. Our dear friends. Yes.
Yes.
So Whiskey also shared the pictures and this is the problem, and I heard you were also kind of like scandalized. Then as a layperson, I just can't say what's wrong, because I don't know what are the this one. Right?
Sorry, that's that page 2, 54. Yeah.
So because let's say if I come from in New York or some other place, they said, oh, it's pretty, oh, it's Indonesian, it's and we said so, and then we certainly click photos. They say, oh, that's a lovely picture from Borobudur and the traditional Indonesian house, very happy. Yeah. And then they will say, see, everybody's happy. We did it traditional way, and I'm unable to tell because I'm not expert. What are okay now that you show that later what are traditional houses, I can see that it's all wrong, but then but frankly speaking, maybe those engineers who executed that, they think that they've done the great work, right? And they don't know what's wrong. So is it possible to have one section which kind of takes this as an example, say what's wrong, just put the picture and say this is not like the shape of the roof is wrong, this motif is not from this region, or the design of the pillar is different, etc. So just like a cartoon once again, just like now what you have done, and put like a red cross everywhere, saying okay, why this is wrong, and next to it put how a traditional house looked like, and so that we see, okay, they can see why it's wrong, in a very clear manner.
Or maybe if we talk, for instance, like from the door, this is the door with the white flowers. It's called kawung. It is made from batik actually. And I'm just thinking we can put many pictures here with those white one. So we can questioning what is this come from, for instance, not just one buildings, but there will be then, because we have many collections of this.
That one,
so
yeah.
related with this this one, the white. So
okay,
yes, we will show another drawing this, and then another drawing this with it in different houses, but the same white door, a white ornament door.
Yeah.
So we can then making a questions, so something like that, because the houses is approximately 300 houses like this.
So already made 300 houses like that.
Yes.
Yeah, so once all the houses became like 300 of them became like that, people say, okay, that is now it's a new local tradition, right? I guess they try to.
So every door is designed like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just making a questions that where is this concept come from, for instance, like this.
Is it from stupa?
I don't think so.
No, sorry, okay. My best friend. Right. No, I think it's
this one is from another Directorate General. It's not from the Cipta Karya, but it's
the inspiration comes
from the housing sections or Directorate General of Housings, because they wants to. The idea is to support for the homestay. So they will add one house, they want one room, or I don't know. Yeah. And also using the brick is the idea, but we don't have the document. This is our problem. But we made an interview, and then from the interview, they mentions that the governments would like to have the design that looks like Majapahit. But we understand that in Majapahit they don't have those kind of things.
I think so. Maybe they lived in a hut, this bamboo hat or something with banana leaves on top of it.
Yeah, maybe we can add, for instance, and then in this questions regarding the development of the local houses within two things. One is utilizations of so many bricks with different designs that no precedent from the local. And then secondly, regarding the door with a kawung type. This is from the batik type.
Yeah.
And my understanding of the batik, what is called batik, it's supposed to be the process of color blocking or rintang warna in certain media. This is called batik. But this one is just fake of the batik, if they call it batik, because it's only motif that they brought it here. No process of the with using the malam or the this process. Yeah. So those kind of things.
By the way, in your past projects, did you have? I think you had done some renovation work, or some houses which in your past work as a heritage conservation architect.
Yes.
Did you renovate it? Did you renovate a house, or old house, or did you restore an old house, which you consider as a good example, or like ideal example of the restoration that respect the key characteristic features?
Yes.
But with some new adaptation, maybe because you have to improve the use, etc.
Yeah, we did some in Kota Gede, the one that with the support UNESCO last time. And we have the Omah UGM, the house of Universitas Gadjah Mada over there. And also our colleague's house is also a traditional house, it's joglo, the pendopo style. So we have the key elements that we're supposed to have those in the house.
So you have a couple of existing examples where you consider it's like a good examples, right? Good example of renovations. So then that'd be useful to kind of have sections showing bad one, how the traditional look one, and how the restorations are bad, but then what are like a good model, I mean, that you consider good model. So again, was explaining because they respect this, that, and in a very visual, graphic way. Then I think that were very useful too, to go and sit with, let's say, Minister of Urban Development, engineers say, hey, this is what we observed, and in our, according to our professional observations, there are numbers of problems in the new one where you invested money, because this is different, this is different, this is different, and then, by the way, this is like what we consider a good examples of restoration that already exist by professionals. And so it shows these three, versions simultaneously, so that I think the government people finally understand better. And then that perhaps would allow us maybe to go to the next step, next step. Well, the ideal scenario is that we make the government invest in making one good example somewhere to kind of serve as a model, so that people can then imitate and then serve as a model. Like, the village model house, and then so that is one. Maybe another interesting thing is to kind of let them organize these design competitions, where UNESCO and you will sit on the voice and so these are the basic parameters we have to respect, but we want to make a guest house. How are you going to do it in a sensitive way? Because we have to have a clean toilet, we have to have guest rooms. What kind of design can we propose to without ruining the featuring, without introducing something too out of the way? So that could be like our kind of follow-up proposals to the government.
Yes.
But the point is to speak to the government. We can't. We need to be very simple and picture pretty, or more cartoon-like publications, because I am sure they are not going to read your chapter 1 and 2.
Yeah. It cannot be like that. Yes.
And then but they just want to jump to the conclusion. This is how it should look like, and this is bad examples, and then what can we do with also?
Okay. Yes, I think we have to make a drawing more in the conclusions to, for instance, to show the key elements that's supposed to be there, not to be changed.
That would be great.
So,
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So so don't need to work too further on the chapter 1 and 2. It's and then 3, of course, it's more like a documentation, but something a bit elaborated on the last section
Okay.
along that line. And then let's see. Now, of course, time-wise, we don't have much time left, so please do something within your remit, in a sense, without necessarily you having to organize another field survey. That's not the purpose. But something, because we are sure you really have a lot of data that you accumulated from your past study. So if you could add that existing knowledge into this last section, that'd be great.
Okay. As I mentioned also to Mas Rizky that we also will go, actually we plan to go to Borobudur again to take the pictures.
That's great.
Yeah, because we have our colleagues that made the pictures for Borobudur in the cover. So he is the local photographer, our friend. He used to be in a Balai Konservasi Borobudur, but he retired right now.
Parno.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Momoy already knows him. So
yeah, because there was a special photo exhibition we did, no? It's amazing, the kind of work he has followed. Yeah.
Yeah, last time I made also exhibition in Japan from his picture about Borobudur. That's a long time ago. So I have collection of him, but it's mostly for Borobudur. So that's one we would like to go there, and then we will have a position. Oh, this one supposed to be taken by him for the houses, not for the Borobudur.
I think he's good. Yeah, wow, because he has photos since 1960s or something, right?
Yeah.
No, that's. So how does he see these current changes inside and outside Borobudur?
I think he's still there.
Yeah, but
yeah,
is he
and
okay with the current changes and all these new ideas from the
I haven't discussed with him yet.
I'm just very curious to know from him.
I'm afraid because he always show us since our Borobudur Field School last time in 2004. Show this one is Punto Setumbu, and then this when we walking up, that's very difficult to move. Still only a path, not like now it's already prepared for the trail. Yes. Okay.
Okay. If I
may
add some comments,
please, Mas Rizky.
Okay. Actually, I have two things to be conveyed. The first thing is about glad that your team will be taking some photos, because allow me to share screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would like to introduce. There's also Ibu Anggi Binarni here, our intangible heritage expert.
Oh my God, you have two beautiful ladies with white hair. That's absolutely mine. This is how I'm trying to be. I'm slowly nurturing my white hair, which is hidden here.
And also Ibu Titi. Ibu Titi is the president of Jogja Heritage Society.
Nice to meet you.
Actually, she is she regret to attend today because of preparation for the Christmas, but finally she come.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yes.
Okay. I hope you can see the share screen. So basically, yeah, you have given some good examples, for instance, like the materials, motif. But what I would like to raise is, of course, this is some example regarding the use of the bamboo materials. But I think it is important to use like a good appealing picture or photos, because we see some, like, for instance, like this, it is like dilapidated materials or of a bamboo. So we afraid that maybe the government official will attribute this material to the poverty. So it is important that bamboo is a very friendly material, but we don't want to attribute this to the poverty condition. So I think it is important if you can capture regarding the good use of bamboo. why it is suitable to be used for the traditional building. I think that could set as a good example. So I think that's the first thing, and it also applied to the other picture when you explain the use of material or the motif. So we hopefully that you can maybe replace these photos with the good example that can maybe appealing enough for the reader. So we hope they want to adopt this kind of material or this motif. And another thing is about in the TOR, we also want this documentation also involved about the condition of the local people, how they think about retaining the traditional building. I believe that your team have conducted some interviews. I think it is important to get their view about the traditional building, why they want to retain this traditional character, and maybe some communities don't want to keep this kind of traditional character. Maybe there are some concern. Maybe, for instance, the material is too expensive. For example, like you already mentioned the use of the wood column as the central of the building, but maybe some community or some people cannot afford to buy the wood because it is too expensive and it is difficult to get the material, or maybe there is a lack of carpenters that capable enough to build these traditional houses. I think we should collect that kind of maybe baseline information, like about the social economic condition in the community that you surveyed, because yeah, I think it is important to get the impression that if the most of the, for example, like the bamboo wall is used by the low income community, something like that, or it is not. So we need to debunk some misinformation about the use of the traditional materials. I think these are my inputs, Bu Sita. Thank you.
Terima kasih, Mas Riki. Thank you very much. I think yes, we will go for the making the pictures, taking the pictures again, and yeah, we will also give our results that maybe we are missing here, the understanding of the local people about traditional houses. And regarding the carpenter, actually they still have a carpenter because they still make also some more traditional houses in this case.
Yeah.
Yes, we will put this.
And maybe also their challenges.
Yes. Yeah. Ibu Titi, Bu Anggi, Bu Nining, if you have any comment or additional informations, please. Dara, Dina, Jayanti. Actually, we also have difficulties when we made a map, because the map from the Balai Konservasi and the map from the Ministry of Agraria and Spatial Planning is different.
It's typical. Although we have like a one map policy, but sometimes different institutions they have their own map. So sometimes when we try to overlay, it's completely different sometimes.
Yes. So, but we use the one from the Ministry of the
Agrarian.
Yeah, Agrarian.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Because they are the highest authority to publish the map, so it should be the map we should refer to. Okay.
Maybe anyone wants to say something?
Okay. Maybe if there are no any comments, we can end this meeting. Maybe, and maybe if you have any question, you can send the questions or suggestion via WhatsApp as usual, Bu Sita. So via email, yeah, we can discuss over WhatsApp or via phone.
Yeah, and then this documentation is more than 70 pages. It is okay, and then we try also to compile all the drawings that we made in the attachments, and the framework is like this. This is already the final ones. So we will add the pictures and more information, pictures, and then conclusion for the drawing, additional drawing, and then informations. So like what you mentioned previously.
Thank you very much. That would be great. And just to share with you what we imagine as a next step after this is something I kind of briefly mentioned, but on the basis of that, especially the last section that is going to be elaborated, we want to convene the meeting with the local government offices, BCO, and whatnot. Say, hey, this is a result of the study, and we see this kind of problems, and therefore we think that this is the ideal model, for the future conservation work, or tourism development work, and then we can also even have another round of community consultation. Say, what do you think if we think that this is a good model that you should follow? And then maybe local community might say, yeah, but this is a problem. So that could be the basis of a discussion to develop actually the guideline to be then adopted, the real guideline to be adopted in the future by the government that is agreed by the local communities also. But so your work will be like a very important starting point to trigger that discussion, and with a lot of professional knowledge on the heritage structures in the region. And I
want just to add, once that we in the setting of the houses and the yard is the relations between building and the plantations. This is my drawings in one of the house in Candirejo. This is the place where we had a summer course every year since 2004 to 2015. So this houses, the plantations is become the partitions of the veranda. So they created, this is something that missing in every development. For instance, more than 300 houses, they don't think about the trees. They don't think about the plantation as a component for development.
And so I think about the privacy of the people. So
yeah. So I think this one will be the one point also that we will like highlight more in our conclusions.
So thank you very much. And then Rizky, you discuss with Ibu Sita's team about the timeline for the finalization of this work later, because today is Friday. And
yeah, okay. Yeah, I need to check again the calendar, but after this meeting, I will check the calendar and I will inform Ibu Sita.
I'm not sure if they will be working next week. They prefer January, that is also fine. So
we are, and we will have also another discussions with Balai Konservasi, as they want to use this also to reply another order from the national governments related to guidelines. It is okay?
Yes. So, yes.
It is completely okay.
Okay. No. Please do that. It's the reason why we engaged you, because we know you can influence them. So
hopefully, it's very hard. It's very hard.
Let's try our best to raise our voice of concern.
So anyways, thank you so much for your encouragements and reviews, and I think we do hope that we will finalize this properly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your
time. Thank you so much,
and generously sharing your experience and knowledge.
And we do hope that before we close, Can we take a picture together?
Oh, sure.
Mari dibuka slide-nya, kita foto bersama. Yes, siapa yang motret? Jayanti is our planner, so she always find out the map of Borobudur.
Toughest job.
Oke, sudah?
Jenny.
Sudah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ibu Sita.
So I hope to meet you all in person in the near future.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I just fed up of this Zoom meetings, just meeting everybody virtually.
So hopefully maybe next year.
Yes,
Next year.
Let's hope that.
Maybe we can have time in Jakarta. Ibu Anggi is now in Jakarta because she has to taking care of her older sister.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. So I think you just came from Jakarta a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah, no, yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Oh, by car.
Yeah, yeah, to save my body from any viruses, because my sister has to avoid any kind of viruses. So that's the safest way for us.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Wish you
Have
Terima kasih.
Bye-bye.
have a holiday season. Yes. Next year. Let's we meet next year.
Have a good holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Best
you
wishes
too.
next year.
Ya, terima kasih.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Kita stop dulu. Ya, Mbak Anggi kakaknya. Loh, sudah hilang.
Enggak, masih. Ya, alhamdulillah membaik.
Aduh, syukurlah.
Ada sedikit progres lagi, tapi aku masih tunggu nanti waktu kontrol tanggal 19, karena biasanya trombositnya itu kan unpredictable gitu. Jadi, tapi memang dijaga betul. Jangan kebentur, kalau kebentur tuh bikin boros trombosit.
Oh gitu.
Kan benturan itu kan biru toh. Nah, trombosit akan ke situ untuk menyembuhkan. Nah, ini yang kita hindari. Jangan sampai kebentur. Tapi ya yang penting dia dia happy. Adik-adiknya datang, dia seneng ya.
Anyway, Mbak Anggi selamat Natal, Bu Titi selamat Natal, Yeni selamat Natal.
Yeni, Mbak Titi selamat Natal.
Mbak Titi sekali pejabat loh, numpak mobil.
Oh, kuwi sidak kuwi.
Harus sidak kuwi. Sidak penyelenggaraan Natal di berbagai gereja.
Terima kasih. Yoswa, ibadah khusus Adi Yoswa.
Mulanya kok ayu banget tuh bergarap ibadah.
Kok nganggo klambi tentara warnanya hijau-hijau.
Itu Natal iki.
Oh.
Waduh.
Itu
apa itu? Apa itu?
Oh ya.
Ya. Selamat Natal kita.
Mbak Cita.
Ya.
Tadi kan dia minta, si Rizky itu minta ask people's view about the traditional building, whether they like this the old traditional houses or they would prefer the new ones. Lo tak ada peo.
Ya.
Aku jadi deg-degan nih, aku jawabannya mesti udah kepingin tembok, jawabnya sih, omah mau jawabannya.
Iya, pancen. Ora apa-apa, Mbak. Ora apa-apa. Jadi kita harus, kalau nanti kesimpulannya kan kita harus promosi ya. Bahwa ternyata yang itu yang menjadi sekarang jadi mahal sekali. Yang lama-lama itu. Yang paham kan semua kembali ke yang lama toh.
Ya itu makanya. Soalnya kan dengan melihat perubahannya yang jadi kayak memindahkan Malioboro di sana, lalu ada bangunan-bangunan dari antah berantah yang nempel di sana, khawatirnya justru hal ini yang mereka akan anggap sebagai kebaruan, sesuatu perubahan yang cocok untuk mereka. Bahayanya itu artinya kita sendiri sebagai tim perlu siap mental ya, nanti kalau jawaban mereka akan sangat jauh dari harapan kita.
Tapi kalau aku yakin mesti jauh deh. Tapi dengan adanya sekarang mereka merasa seperti ini, ya. Jadi Rizky itu juga bilang, kalau bisa pada konklusi itu, orang berdasarkan konklusi itu sudah bisa melihat impresinya bahwa itu tuh memang unggul bener yang lama itu. Makanya memang gambar-gambar itu masih akan kita lengkapi lagi. Itu kan ketemunya gambar seperti itu kan baru akhir-akhir juga toh kemarin itu. Jadi nanti akan kita tambah, termasuk nanti darah itu gambar yang di bawahnya itu kan harusnya ada batu kan, yang kaki.
Oh iya, Bu. Ya.
Itu besok juga diekspos itu. Jadi rumah-rumah di sana itu kan selalu naik lebih tinggi walaupun tidak tinggi-tinggi sekali gitu ya. Nah itu nanti di gambarnya masih harus dilengkapi. Terus nanti kalau tambahan nanti kita ada terus nanti ini ditambahkan itu. Jadi ada bergerak gitu loh gambar-gambar. Ya soalnya kan rumah-rumah di sana itu kan sampel ya. Kalau dilihat itu kan sederhana banget gitu. Jadi kadang-kadang kene iki dhewe ya mau biasa kayak ngono. Jadi nggak perlu dijelaskan, tapi kalau buat orang kayak orang asing kayak itu kan pasti butuh jelas gitu loh. Iki apa nih, ini bentuk segitiga nih. Terus nanti kita cari yang bagus-bagus lah dinding-dindingnya dipotret mau sing apik.
Ya gue mau supaya menjadi ya itu tadi karena persepsi pemerintah sendiri kan masih keliru gitu ya. Nah, bambu berarti kere sih kayak ngono kan mikirnya.
Nah, itu makanya nanti kita rencanakan kapan ya kita ke sana ya. Siapa bisa?
Itu kapan, Januari atau
masih aku bisa nawar lah.
Aku pulangnya Januari.
Tanggal berapa, Mbak? Mbak Anggi yang belum pernah ke sana loh.
Nah, ya itu apa? Mungkin setelah aku tanggal 10-11-an gitu mungkin baru pulang.
Oh gitu. Enggak apa, nanti kita foto-foto dulu, nanti kita juga ke sana lagi, enggak apa-apa lah. Kita memang harus sering-sering ke sana. Mungkin aku sih malah mengharapkan minggu depan ya. Nanti kita janjian sama Pak Parno, soalnya aku ya telah wedi selak ono kegiatan lain gitu. Jadi nanti kita janjian sama Pak Parno kapan dan kita motret-motret di JC, nanti Mbak Anggi datang kita ke sana lagi gitu. Kalau boleh duren toh.
Kita menarik loh tadi permintaannya Rizky bahwa mungkin kita kok mau ya malah ya tanya ke Pak Parno menurut dia perubahan ini piye pandangan dia sendiri ya.
Kita kan belum wawancara Pak Parno.
Karena yang di foto Pak Parno kan semua yang eksotis, yang beautiful gitu ya. Tapi bukan yang realitas-realitas seperti ini.
Betul. Jadi kan ini setelah kita studi ini baru kita tahu yang butuh foto yang bagus tuh yang ini gitu kan. Jadi nanti Pak Parno kita datangkan gitu. Ngono dulu enak pancen.
Oke.
Ya.
Baiklah.
Terus yang belum untuk yang Jogja. Aku yorong sempet lah aku saiki dimbrui data saka Yogyakarta saka Burani. Itu di Google. Itu buatannya akeh banget, aku kudu download satu persatu. Astaga.
Burani disebut?
Disebut, ya, dari disebut. Ya, gue kan
Sing kurang apa ya? Aku sudah setor sih ke Dina yang.
Ya nanti Dina tolong dicek ya. Yang belum ada yang mana ya Dina?
Iya nanti aku bantuin. Karena aku bisa kerja dari sini tetap.
Iya, Bu.
Iya. Bu Anggi nih disuruh kerja ini nanti kan dia nggak kemana-mana. Harus menemani kakak di rumah.
Sekali-sekali pergi kayak ini ada yang ya harus ke rumah sakit atau kemana. Tapi kan selebihnya aku juga nggak berani pergi-pergi.
Mbak Anggi rambutmu kok putihnya banyak ya. Aku ki ora lho ki jek ireng to. Mbak Anggi jan putih tenan nih.
Ning gurine jerone ki jek kaya Mbak Sita jerone.
Lah ya tapi kan ininya udah
atasnya rata. Nah, lucunya ada yang tumbuh tuh hitam.
Bikin Ibu Moe kan kepengen toh. Aku saiki beres riset.
Aku ya gumun. Ya jalan tapi yang karo Mbak Sita. Iki burine kayak Mbak Sita ya jerone. Kene nek sing rata sing
putihnya beda, Bu. Jenis putihnya beda.
Apa Yen?
Terus JHS mau kumpul-kumpul kapan Bu Titi? Ini Mbak Anggi pulang aja ya kalau gitu.
Iya, Mbak Anggi pulang kapan?
Baru tanggal
ya,
11-an. Sesudah tanggal 11-an.
Oh, gitu.
Cek suwe. Aja ngenteni aku lah mesane nek wis do selak do muntup kepengin ketemu.
Ya ora apa-apa.
Kira-kira pertengahan hari lah kok.
Ya, nanti dipersiapkan oleh Ibu Titi.
Jadi kita member baru ini ya, Jayanti, Dara, Dina itu jadi baru JHS tuh, ya Jay.
Persiapkan jadi calon-calon pengurus JHS itu.
Ya, kalian calon ini loh penggantinya Bu Sita.
Dina sampai Jogja kapan? Dina sampai Jogja kapan?
Tanggal 3, Bu.
3 Januari. Nah, nanti juga harus ketemu nanti.
Ya, Bu.
Ya, masuk kita ketemunya Zoom terus. Bu Moe aja kepengen ketemunya orang Zoom, bosen Zoom terus. Ya. Oke. Sekali lagi terima kasih atas kehadirannya.
Sama-sama. Sampai ketemu, selamat libur ya.
Selamat Natal, selamat tahun baru.
Liburan.
Selamat libur.